Hi everyone, my name is Mackenzie Kane, and the book I chose for this, the Model Coach mini paper and the presentation was Summitt Up by Pat Summitt, and this is a picture of the book. I read it on my phone, and so that's why it's on my phone. And this is a picture of her. And Pat Summitt was the head basketball coach for the Tennessee Lady Vols from 1974 to 2012. But at the time of her retirement, she had the most career wins in NCAA women's basketball. And the first quote I picked was, it has to do with coaching diverse athletes. And she says, "I was learning that they each had different pressure points, and that was the interesting part of the job. I picked up a saying from the legendary UCLA coach John Wooden. I don't treat them all the same, but I treat them all fairly. I asked all of our players to achieve the same standard, but I couldn't possibly ask all of them to achieve it in the same way." So chapter 5 in our textbook talks about coaching diverse athletes. And as a coach, you have to understand that every athlete is different. And every athlete is going to learn things different, and they're going to accomplish their goals on different times. And so you really have to get to know your athletes and know how they learn and just what ways they learn. And Pat Summitt was a perfect example of this. She knew that she asked all of her athletes the same things and expected them to accomplish the same goals, but she knew that not every athlete was going to do it in the same way. And she was really good at getting to know her athletes, and she really learned how they learn. And the second quote I picked, it is about success is not winning, and that is in chapter 7. And the quote says, "I'd never seen a team so pained by a loss, and while I felt awful, I was also relieved. It was the emotional buy-in I'd been waiting for. Listen up," I said. "Get your heads up. If you give effort like this all the time, if you fight like this all the time, I'm telling you, I promise you, we'll be there in March. You hadn't fought like this every night. I enjoyed coaching this team tonight." So she was talking about that night the Lady Vols had played one of the top-ranked basketball teams in the country, and they had lost, but they played with 100% effort, and they played as well as they possibly could, but they still didn't win. And she was happy for them. Even though they lost, she knew that they had done everything they could to win. And in chapter 7, the quote says, "Winning is important, but it must become secondary to achieving personal goals." This quote was honestly one of my favorite quotes from the book because Coach Summitt was so tough. I mean, she was known for being super tough, and she expected nothing less than winning. But in this moment, she knew that, look, my team had given 100%, and they had played their absolute best, and they didn't win, but they did as good and played as well as they possibly could. And for her, that was a win enough, and they were successful in that moment because they had given 100% effort. And I just really liked that because sometimes winning really isn't everything, and that's what chapter 7 talks about. So thank you.